So I was asked about sharpening technically it was an orange dragon, but it's an assist open knife. This is actually my Italian stiletto. It almost looked exactly like an Italian stiletto. So this is, and I mean, best you can. I mean, it's a good make. Safety doesn't stick, nothing about it. But I never keep the safety. This is my uh, pretty much self-protection. Uh, Again, these knives are self-protection. So, sharpen one edge, but don't think you're going to be able to cut through rope with this or hack down a tree with this. That's going to dull your edge. And definitely if there's anything engraved on it or colorful like the orange dragon, you're going to wear that away. So, make sure you use, it as a self-defense weapon. Uh, to put it simply, these weapons are meant not to really cut. People you see with knives go like, these nice fluid hand motions, and it looks beautiful, and it's kind of like, you see it with butterfly knives a lot. It's just this beautiful act of, woo, knife, and this is how I'm going to cut you, No. Navy SEALs, Russian Spetsnaz, when they attack, with a knife, they're forcefully, and they might kink their pretty much grip here, open hand palm, and then when they strike you, they're going to force that blade to hit you, and then they're just going to take it away. So, just that simple. That, or if they're going to fight you, they're going to fight you like this, so they can block and they can stab. And this knife I find more to be used as an Italian like ice pick. You're going to sneak up behind someone, snag them up by their chin, or something like that, and slit their throat, or you're just going to take it and stick it straight into someone's brainstem. That point is all you need to be deadly sharp. Remember, a back cut on a knife is 1,000 times more deadlier and hard to seal than the front side of a knife. So if your blade's a little dull, but can still, you know, with enough pressure cut, it's a good weapon. I mean, if it is completely dulled, yeah, sharpen it. But it doesn't need to be razor sharp to do the effective job you're wanting for it. So you stick it into someone and you just cut the bejeebus out of their intestinal tract. You puncture their stomach, stuff like that. It's basic, 101 with a stiletto. If you want a good little work knife to have on you to cut tape and cut rope, I know I always sound like a Gerber fanboy and a Bic lighter fanboy, but best knife I've bought so far, as in coming straight out of the package, razor ass sharp, is the Gerber Mini. And I mean, this Gerber Mini, that's how I don't have rope on me. Well, actually I do. Haha. I mean, for a Gerber Mini, here, let me, boom. Boom. And this is a sharp enough knife to cut through most of your rope needs. So, I'm not going to say, in a worst case scenario, a stiletto can't, but you're going to be dulling that blade, or any knife like a stiletto. So, I mean, a stiletto can cut rope, but you're going to dull that blade. You're going to have to continuously sharpen. Like I said, with like the orange dragons and stuff like that, there's flame details on the damn thing and stuff like that. It's just not a thing to do. And remember, when you're fighting with a stiletto, you want to make sure all spring-loaded weapons make a sound when they open, and it's a very notable sound. Stiletto, I think everyone knows that sound. Even if they've only seen them in movies, people know that stiletto sound. So what I find, if you're going to go and attack someone with it, you want to palm it as best you can, and then when you go in for the stab, make sure you palm it where that center part of your hand is. And so all you're going to do is drop your fingers down, and you're going to stick them with it. So literally, this is what you're going to do. It's almost like you're just going to go and punch someone. But you slide your fingers back and your blade comes out. So drop, and then when you're going in for that final punch, a couple inches away from it, then you know, maybe an inch away from them. That's when you're going to open it, and you're going to aim for the biggest part on them. The best way I've ever been taught to fight someone was actually in basketball. Remember, look at their belly button. They're not going anywhere without their belly button. So, I mean, hit that mass and then just tear it out as fast as you can. They'll be on the ground. I don't care if they have a gun in their sidearm. They're not pulling that out. They're going to try to hold in their guts. And that guy's down on the ground, and he will probably bleed to death pretty quickly. So, you know, remember, when you're fighting, either you want to sneak up on them or you want to conceal this until the last possible moment of impact. Because, you know, you don't want someone to, I mean, you can conceal it different ways. You can conceal it like that, so it actually looks more like a punch. But, I mean, you want to make sure, last second, that knife blade's coming out. And then you want to force it as hard as you can into them. You know, basic fighting. And like I said, man, if you want to keep a little cutting knife or something like that, a Gerber Mini. I mean, costs you, I think, like $10 at the store. And, I mean, it's going to do every bit of cutting needs you want for it. You want to cut open an aluminum can? I mean, that's going to cut through it. And that's factory sharp. I haven't sharpened this since I've gotten it. It is factory razor sharp. And I mean, this little knife, also a great knife to have if you want a small concealed weapon that's easy to conceal by hand. So, you know, all you're going to do is pinch, and there, your hand's pretty much free to do, free to look at, and then you're just going to keep it on your side. And you have a knife that's already open, pretty much secured, and if something does happen to you, like you're walking down an alleyway, you can just drop that knife before they even know what happens, turn around and just slice them. It's simple fighting, you know. Most likely, most people who are trying to rob you, they don't want to shoot you. They just want the money. You know, so you can have that split second. Again, it's always safer just to hand them the money. But, you know, these are just some fighting techniques and some concepts on a stiletto, or a type of stiletto. Remember, it does not need to be razor sharp, or if you do sharpen it one time, to razor point, and that's all you need with this knife. Because if it's razor sharp, once it goes into you, because you're not going to be cutting like that unless you got a clear shot at their throat. You're going to be stabbing. And like I said, most people, you know, if they're going to be stabbing, they want to stab, you know, they're going to have a downswing anyways on the knife. You know, because that's how you're going to hit more vital, you know, vessels and veins and, you know, organs, is that down swipe. It gives you a hell of a lot more control than anything else. So when you stick someone in their neck, you know, you can hit that artery there. And because it is a stiletto, and again, I'm using the dull side, you can penetrate both carotid arteries by stabbing one of them. So if you do it right and just stick them sideways like that, you will get both carotid arteries. They will bleed out. You know, but this knife is more for stealth. I mean, you know, put someone in a headlock, grab your knife, and just slit their throat. Call it a fucking day. You know, if you want a good little work knife, carry your Gerber Mini on you, or any other type of knife. I don't care. It might not need to be a Gerber Mini, but you're not taking that stiletto out in the woods. It's self-protection. Remember, depending on your states, it's against the law to have them, or some states, like mine, it's acceptable to have them in a collection, but you're not allowed. To have them on your person. They find it on you, you will probably be going to jail. So, remember, always be safe on your knife. Also, when I talk about not having a safety, this is how good the knife is. I mean, standard rattling in your pocket. It's not going off. I mean, boom. I mean, this knife doesn't go off in your pocket. You know you have a cheap stiletto, or, you know, a fake or a knockoff. If that blade, you don't need anything. It's a hair trigger on that. Because it truly is not a heavy trigger for it, but it has some oomph to it. So, you know, be safe with your knives, and remember, these are just helpful hints. And remember, you know, if you ever see a guy coming at you with a butterfly-like knife, like, you know, that, just take your knife and go, stick him with it. because they're not going to kill you that way. You guys have a great day.